All right, so these are the components you're looking at. You're looking at the actual module, with the loom, and specifically, going power, all the way down to the battery. And then this is the part you want to pay attention to. If it ends on CL, that means that we are intervening the actual spark plugs, or as opposed to turning off the fuel. So we're just turning off spark in order to get our next shift in without clutch. And finally, you have bolts, or actual rods that are going to go inside of the actual rod. And then this is the actual Annitori sensor. I ended up choosing the blue one, but essentially this is the package. So everything you need in order to do the actual installation of a quickshifter on an FZ-09. Let's just get started.
So for this, you're gonna have to remove the seat, the plastics, and then the tank. And you can probably get away with just lifting the tank and removing the airbox, and then just trying to get yourself in a place where you can, easy to get access to the spark plugs. But to be quite honest, removing the tank is so easy that you might as well just remove it and then just, get rid of it. And then on this side, just, remove the runners, and then so you can remove the airbox completely. And then there's a few hoses attached to the actual airbox that you have to take care of those as well.
All right, so now with the airbox removed, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull the actual spark plugs wires, and then I'm going to intervene the spark plug wire with one of these, and then the spark plug wire I'm just going to be connecting to this one. And of course, there's like 3 pistons, so there's one set for each of the pistons. It doesn't matter which way you go. And then you have a lead connected to that same harness, which is going to be the one connecting to the quickshifter. So now let's just go ahead. What I'm going to do, since I'm going to be running the cabling, for on the left side of the bike, so I'm just going to go ahead and use this one as the one on the right, the right piston, then the one in the middle, and then the one on the left, and then connecting this to the other side, and we can start putting everything back together. Okay. So here's one, and this is going to be the one. So I'm just going to connect this one here, and I'm going to connect this lead to the spark plug. Okay, perfect. And now I'm going to repeat the same process 2 more times. Good. I am now just accommodating the cables so they are not in the way. I'm going to put the hose back. Okay. Now let's put the airbox again, without not forgetting to attach these two to the airbox. Perfect. All right, so this is good because this will give me, a approximate location so I can start planning my cable routing. So I'm just gonna put the positive negatives on this side, and then let's start routing this cable right now. So the other cable, it's coming, the other lead is right here. So I can easily just run this through here. Can use few zip ties so I can fix it to the frame. I'm actually gonna go underneath the tray in here from the bottom, and then I can, perfect. So the final thing is to work on this. So let's lift the bike and we'll get started.
Then this is the fun part. You're finally going to be able to remove the rod and the shifting rod, and then remove the both nuts that are holding the rod in place, and then make sure that the one at the bottom here gonna do it. It's a reverse thread normally, so it's just gonna be coming loose, by going to the right. Right, so at this point, what you want to do is just to build the rod with the parts included in the kit. So there's a rod, that the black part, that has 2 threaded holes on both sides, and then you're going to be inserting some of the rods that they included with the kit alongside with the nuts. And then what you want to do is just to continue play with them until you get to a place where the actual rod, including the sensor, matches the length of your previous rod. All right, so in here, I just started to mocking up, you know, the actual rod with the sensor in place just to get a feel for it. One couple things that I want to mention is you want the rod, you know, or the sensor actually at the top of the actual assembly, and then that cable should be facing back, you know, so up and back. So just that way, just rotate it back, and you'll see I end up kind of, you know, adjusting it later. Very important is that you want a 90-degree angle between the actual shifter mechanism where at the top where the shifting mechanism is connected to and the actual rod. And secondly, you also want to pay attention to the shifter at the bottom, because you don't want to put it in a place where it's super high, where you have to almost like lift your foot in order to be able to access, you know, first or even sixth, whatever. So just play with the angle and then jump on the bike and make sure that it feels correct, and then that you can engage all shifts. And although you can install it in the same way I removed the previous rod by just, you know, threading both sides at the same time by rotating the rod, in some cases it's easier just to, you know, remove the top part and then just play with the length by, you know, keeping the actual rod or the assembly in place, and then just rotating that single part at the top, and then I can just go ahead and put it back in the actual shifter mechanism without, you know, no issues at all. Now that I'm pretty happy with the position, besides the fact that I haven't rotated the sensor back, I'm just going to start routing the cables for the controller as well as the actual shifter. As I mentioned earlier, I will be routing the cables on the left side of the bike, so I have already a lead coming from the spark plugs that it's waiting for me to connect it in here. And after I do make that connection, I'm going to go ahead and route the cable from the actual quick shifter all the way on the left side of the bike, all the way back to the controller, which I will be showing later. So we are now in a place where we want to connect power to the controller. So one thing that you have to be very sure about is that you have all your connections already in place before you put power to the unit, meaning the actual sensor has to be connected to the controller, and then the cable that goes from the controller to the area on the ignition that's going to be cutting the ignition on the spark plugs, it has to be connected as well. And then this is your status light showing that it's green, so everything is good to go. Although I connected the unit straight to the actual battery, just I think it's better if you do a wire tap and then just pull power from the actual tail light, so that you don't have any issues in the future when you have to charge your battery, because otherwise you're going to have to remove your sensor before connecting the battery to power, to avoid putting power to the actual controller.
What I'm going to do is to turn the bike on before I connect the quick shifter. Make a stop here. Okay.
As always, I appreciate so much you guys for watching these videos and for your support. So thank you for coming with me in this video, and I'm just gonna be releasing part 2 pretty soon, so you guys can get a feel for, you know, settings, experience with Annitori and whatnot. So thank you again for watching this video.